Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bongani Shiva of Walk Tall with Shiva, the show that seeks to inspire, motivate others. Today's episode is going to be talking about suicide in Swaziland. We have themed it suicide. Your story is not over yet. We want to explore how does it affect the Swazis? How do we get to suicide? Who is likely to commit suicide? And what can we do when we realize that a person that we know, a family member, a friend, a loved one, is having suicidal thoughts? This is Bongani Shiva of Walk Tall with Shiva. The person that's watching the show that wishes to help someone that they feel might be suicidal, the person that's watching the show that suddenly realizes that suicide is not an ailment and they can talk about the suicidal feelings, where can we go? Especially in Swaziland, in Eswatini.
Okay, so definitely, I mean, if you are a friend or you're someone who's feeling as if, I've been thinking a lot about killing myself and been having this kind of thoughts, it helps also initially. It's important that if there's someone that you trust in your family, in your friend, in your circle of friends, that you tell them also. It's important. But I think I cannot understate the importance of also seeking professional help. Because if you've got depression, maybe we also need to be on antidepressants and medicated, or also need to see a psychologist for psychological treatment, for psychotherapy, so that you see a professional over time who's also maybe able to make a suicide assessment in terms of the risk. Are you likely to commit this? How severe are your symptoms? Will you recover and all of that? And obviously treatment can vary. In Swaziland, we have psychologists in private practice, and obviously they come at a fee. We also have our National Psychiatric Referral Hospital that has 2 psychologists there, and the psychiatrist. And also then we also have, basically in our hospitals, I think in our larger hospitals, there's definitely usually a psychiatric nurse who's there for primary mental health care. And in terms of supporting someone, if you think, obviously they've tried to do something, they didn't succeed, or they're feeling very bad, then obviously someone has to be hospitalized until we feel that they're a bit more.
So outside of finding somebody that you trust, who's a friend, who's somewhere in your social circle, your church, your school, wherever, the seeking professional help, I was kind of worried, because when you say that, I'm thinking, but that is costly. I want to reiterate the fact that it is not only those that are in private practice. Even clinics have a psychiatric nurse. Even hospitals have somebody who has some kind of training in mental health care. And then there's the psychiatric center. Whilst I worry about the psychiatric center because it has always been seen as the place for mad people, it does provide government scale fee psychiatric help with the 2 psychologists and 1 psychiatrist.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Yes. Right. Even out in the clinics, out in the rural areas, we do have a possibility of a psychiatric nurse.
Yes, definitely. And I think in the smaller clinics in the rural areas, when they feel that something is quite severe, they will tend to then refer it to the closest main hospital, which usually would then have, where you can at least see, even if it's not a specialist, you can at least see a doctor who will prescribe antidepressants, where you can see someone who can at least give you, basic counseling and also refer you if your symptoms are severe.
Right. And then we go to the church side, youth leaders, pastors, kokelis, mfundisis, konsas, and so on. What kind of systems exist, not only in your church, but maybe generally in the church side of life?
Actually, in Swaziland, we are still behind when it comes to church. Certain churches, they don't have structures. So we don't have an office for counseling, an office whatever. When anything happens, we call the pastor. And yet, churches must have staff, people who are qualified for such issues. When people are going through certain things, because sometimes, like we were talking about, go pray. That does not solve anything. Are we together? So we need churches that will hire people who are qualified to deal with such issues. Hire a psychologist, a Christian psychologist, let me put it that way. A Christian psychologist hire people that, just have them on staff so that when people are going through these issues, they have a place to go to, somebody to talk to. Because sometimes most of the pastors are unapproachable, by the way. Sometimes, you see a pastor, you just shiver. So you need somebody that, you can be comfortable with.
A friendly face.
Yes, a friendly face. Because also, and you find that people, they end up committing suicide because they talk to other people who are not qualified to help them either. You know what I mean?
So they don't make the situation
they don't know what to do with the situation.
They told you have demons.
Yeah, sometimes we believe that suicide is an external force. There's this external force that pushes you to commit suicide. We believe that. As Christians, we believe that suicide is demonic on its own. We believe that. You can be prayed out of it.
Okay.
You can be cancelled and prayed out of it, because at the end of the day, prayer must be there. The demon must be cast out. I know to the psychologists
it's fine. It's fine, and I'm happy that there's two belief systems, because either way we are living in a society where there's so many other circles we can be part of. I want to say this: whether it's demonic, whether it's a mental disorder, there can be somebody you can talk to, because your life is not over yet. So there also is something called murder-suicide. This is a situation where, I don't know, I guess because of the difficulties and the pressure and so on, where the person will murder someone and then go on to kill themselves. What leads to that kind of thought? How do we even get there?
Most of the time when that happened, that person never thought about it for a long time. Sometimes you find that somebody comes in and maybe finds a wife cheating, finds a husband cheating, right there. He kills the husband, she kills herself, or kills the wife, he kills him. Sometimes that happens when that person didn't think about it. It's a hit of the moment, it's anger and all those things.
So that person is basically realizing, I've committed a crime, so let me get out of the possible.
Most definitely. Or else even if my wife can do this to me, then the world ends for me. And then
how about when I kill my children and then kill myself?
Sometimes you find that a woman, like I said before, sometimes you find that a woman kills the children. You've heard even in Swaziland, a lady just give the children with tablets and then she takes the tablets. Most of the time, if you find the root of the problem, she's trying to bring pain to the husband or to the father of those kids. Do you understand? So we go back to where we put our trust in a man, where we put all our faith in a man. Where now, I'm doing this, I'm not really hating me, I'm hating them. So sometimes you find that they're doing that out of that. Like I want to hate her. I want her to feel the pain. Of losing me and losing the children.
Sen, what kind of condition is this?
I definitely think there's crimes of passion. People becoming, and we also often see that sometimes maybe speaking about infidelity and someone getting so upset and all of that. But I think it definitely also has to do with again, mental illness, and also acting on the impulse, which happens sometimes when there's cases of substance abuse mixed with suicidality and all of that. So the person most likely, because they maybe have taken alcohol, their inhibitions are lowered, so they're most likely to act on impulse. And they're like, there's nothing worth living for anyway, so let us all, I'm going to die. I don't see a purpose in living, and I don't want to leave these people that I love behind because there's nothing good in the world, so let us all die. And I'm going to kill them, I'm going to kill them, I'm going to kill myself.
Or is it possible that it could be poverty has ravaged my home so much we all need to...
It's not worth living anymore.
But also sometimes you find that the most rich people, they also commit suicide.
Yeah.
So sometimes suicide is not only about poverty.
Right.
Yeah, you find that there are other pressures of life, so we should not only focus on poverty, lack of employment, because you hear a lot of millionaires committing suicide.
Life stresses.
Life stresses.
This life thing. All right. We're talking about trying to help a person, but what if? How would I know? Like the next thing you know, and we've seen it quite a bit, where we were happy with our friend, we went out the whole weekend, we were having a great time, and then come a Sunday evening, they have taken their own life. There was no sign whatsoever. What would be the telltale signs? What should we watch out for?
I think there's always a sign.
I'm sure there is. It's just we don't see it.
There's always a sign, and most of the time when somebody has killed himself or herself, you then hear the phrase like, oh, she once said this, she once said that, she once said this. So I think also we have to, if you're married, be very close to your partner, know your partner. If you're a parent, know your children, so that you see those small signs when the child starts to, maybe they start to keep to themselves. They're no longer going out as often, and those are the signs. Like, she stopped going out with us. Every time we called her, and nobody cared to go and ask, what's wrong with you? You've been going out every weekend, and what's happening? So you find that also in that moment, if us as friends, if we went there, like, Brother Shiba, what's going on, man? Let's go out, then Brother Shiba may open up. But you find that most of the time we just call, hey, let's go, Shiba. And she was like, no, I'm not going. And then I tell all my friends, he said he's not going. And imagine all the pressures, the stresses. Also, you feel neglected
by your friends now.
So the only thing is just to take your life out. But the signs are always there. It's just that also I think the psychologists and the psychiatrists, there must be an awareness where they teach people how to see these signs of suicide. That's very, very important.
Sana.
I think one of the, thank you, Morani. I think one of the signs that we notice changes in behaviors in people that we love and are close to.
Right.
And sometimes there are things, often if someone commits suicide and then only afterwards someone says, how she's become more quiet, she's not withdrawing, she's not communicating, this person has not been going
So
out.
what if the person is a natural introvert?
And then again,
you don't see
it's changes in behavior.
Okay.
Is there anything that has changed in someone you are close to that is of concern to you? Because maybe that signals something. And also being aware of how as a person that you are close to responding after they've experienced the difficulty. Maybe they've been through something that's hard. You want to be aware of how they are coping, has anything changed in their behavior and all of that. And also you want to be more sensitized and aware when someone has previously attempted suicide,
right.
Then you always keep that in your mind. But maybe professionally. Because sometimes that happens, because if you've tried before, chances are you are more likely to also attempt again once you encounter a difficulty.
You mentioned knowing your partner, knowing your spouse. What if I am committing suicide because of the spouse? Now the wife is tired of you. And you are also the reason she's tired, and probably you are not even recognizing that she's withdrawing because you're so angry with her and whatnot.
So it is important that as a couple, you have another couple that you are very close to.
Okay.
Where you can share your issues. People that know you in and out. They know you when you don't have bread. They know you when you don't have money.
We backstab each other from this.
Yes, there are those. But you know what? I believe that there's always a friend for you somewhere. So me as a Christian, I'll say, pray for that friend. Pray that God may lead you to the right people. People that will feel safe around them. People that will be checking on.
And the prayer must happen before you start to feel problems.
Most definitely. Now that let's say now we take a scenario where these couples they don't even have somebody else. As much as I believe that as much as a woman can tell, I wish you were dead. She's just not saying that, you know what I mean? Like, I wish we can, we were dead. But inside, she doesn't want you to die. It's just, she's angry and stuff like that. But at the same time, if this couple find themselves in that situation where the man can kill himself because of the wife and everything, the wife, I think, from then she must go out and seek help. Like, it's me and my husband, and not, and I'm because you will see, even if because you've been with this person maybe 2, 5 years, 6 years, now you see the person maybe is not answering like he used to.
Yeah.
He doesn't care anymore whether you talk, whether you don't talk. He doesn't care. Just come and sit and look at TV. Something is wrong right there. So signs are always there. I believe that also seek help for your partner also. Try to get somebody to come in and help their partner before they commit suicide.
How do we conceptualize marriage in our context and how...
Or friendships or relationships.
Or any kind of relationships, and because are they healthy? Do we cultivate a culture of healthy relationships? You know, where others trigger, do we put people where people feel stuck in situations that no longer make them happy and therefore make them feel like if the only way I can come out of this situation is to take my life, because surely whatever is coming after this, it just has to be better, and that's part of then we have to go, then are we cultivating, in terms of marriage keeps coming to mind, because it's often one of those relationships where people often feel compelled to stay in, even when they're not happy. But what does that do to people's mental health, to be in situations where they don't want to be in? And then that becomes if I'm stuck here, I'd rather I'm
All right. So basically, if you're a friend and the signs are not so telltale, look at behavior change. Be there for the person that you realize is suddenly pulling away from your social circle. Be there. Force yourself to understand why they have withdrawn. If you are in a relationship, know your partner. Understand that the partner is suddenly acting in a way that doesn't make sense, and it could be you that is the cause. Then look to seek help on behalf of your partner. The telltale signs will be behavior change in any way. Even if the person is a naturally withdrawn person, there will be something that they're doing that they have not been doing. Be there for your friend. Usually, that is one of the things that most suicide survivors have said, that they have felt all alone and they felt that they've been neglected.